speaker. Chris Peabody is a Brockton town councillor, organizer and outspoken critic of proposals to site a DGR, or a Deep Geological Repository, for high-level nuclear waste in his community. He built enough support to actually scuttle the deal and get his community off the list. And now he's working to build opposition to siting in the neighboring community. He's on his 5th term as town councillor, and he has taught high school in Walkerton for 28 years, and he was Dave's high school teacher and mentor. And thank you so much, Chris, for coming all the way here today.
Well, I'd like to thank Dave for inviting me down today. And as Angela mentioned, Dave was a student of mine, and I took Dave to his first protest in 1996. Remember, it was Kitchener Days of Action, organized by the OFL against Mike Harris. So we did a big bus trip down there, and so I got Dave started on the protesting. But what I'd like to talk to you today is about my efforts in working against the nuclear waste management organization, because I think it's important to learn about the tactics they use in getting consent from the different communities to bury nuclear waste. There are currently in Bruce County, there are 2 projects to bury nuclear waste. There's the low and intermediate level waste project on site at the Bruce Nuclear Power Development. There was an environmental assessment hearing for that most people heard about, as well as the plan that Renee mentioned. And I first, as a councillor, NWMO, I first heard about the plan in 2004. We had a council meeting. It was in September. I remember it was the first day back at school, and our mayor phoned me at school, and he said, "Oh, we have to show up a little bit early tonight. Somebody's coming from Ontario Power Generation, MWMO, and they just want to talk to us." Got to the meeting half an hour early, and Representative Kevin Orr, he presented this contract to us. He said, "We're going to bury low and intermediate level nuclear waste at the Bruce site, and we want your council's consent. And if we get your consent, we're going to give you $45,000 a year." That's how much. And our council jumped all over it. The mayor, he'd been briefed before, and he jumped all over it. And within 10 minutes, we made a decision to endorse the project, accept the cash, all in secret. And it wasn't until after the meeting, I voted against it, of course, but after the meeting, I got a hold of the contract. And in the contract, it stated that if any councillor were to object to nuclear waste, the town would lose their money, and that they expected total consent and cooperation at the upcoming environmental assessment hearing. So I immediately took the contract and leaked it to the press, and got all sorts of chaos going about secret meetings, which the public hate, and lack of transparency. It all blew up. So at least it got out, but not to be phased, NWMO just came back the next week and had the meeting in public. This time it only took council 5 minutes to approve it. So there was, it's extremely, there were 5 towns in Bruce County that got money. Walkerton got $45,000 because we're 50 kilometers from Bruce Nuclear. The towns closer to Bruce Nuclear, Kincardine, the host community, they got in the order of $800,000.
What year was this?
2004. And it looked at that point like, because the 5 towns had agreed to the cash payments, that the whole plan was going to be fast-tracked. But luckily, 18 months later, at Saugeen First Nation, they had a change in their chief. A chief who was a constitutional lawyer was elected chief, and they had a similar agreement with Saugeen First Nation to, we don't know what it was, but a similar contract. And Chief Kahi took the agreement and said this totally violates the duty to consult. And the other mayors have told me that he ripped it up in their face. So then, after that, because of that, a full-blown environmental assessment called a panel review had to be held. Renee was there for every single minute of that, as well as Jill from Save Our Saugeen Shores. There were a lot of people involved in that hearing. And It was because of Chief Kahi that we even had that hearing. Had it not been for him, the thing would have just been fast-tracked. So then we go ahead to 2010. 2011 is when our community first heard about the plan to bury the high-level nuclear waste. And in this case, what happened was NWMO was trying to be a little bit more transparent. They came to each council in the area, town council, and they asked them to sign on to the project, to get involved in what Bernayne pointed out was called adaptive phased management. And the whole concept there was that NWMO told the politicians, of course you're open-minded. We just want you to learn more. If you sign on, you're just saying that you want to learn more about nuclear waste. At the same time, they told the mayors, we didn't know this at the time, they offered the mayors all sorts of inducements. For the high-level waste, at the time, no cash was offered, but they told the mayor that they would build our mayor, I don't know if it's true, but they told them they'd build an actual university campus in Walkerton. Center of Excellence, that's right. So, and he was very excited about that. So, once again, the council of the day in Brockton, we signed on, and certainly I opposed it. But what we didn't know at the time, and it was the Save Our Saugeen Shores group from Southampton that broke this story, was that the mayors had been meeting in secret on this topic for years. And NWMO was meeting with them, having council meetings of the county council for years, in which they were offering them all sorts of inducements. They were going up to Ottawa on a yearly basis to meet with the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission and NWMO. And one email that we obtained through a Freedom of Information from NWMO talked to the mayors about, be sure to bring your wives out, we're having a great dinner. And so that seemed to be the focus, all this whining and dining. Then it later came out that these meetings were illegal and they were secret. And not only that, in 2010 they were going to come to the communities about burying nuclear waste. But the mayor of Walkerton at the time, he said, no, we can't do this now. We need to wait till after the election. We can't be going to the public during the municipal election and letting them know that we want to bury nuclear waste in their town. So that the whole tactics of the NWMO, it's just buried in secrecy, and this whole sleazy thing about offering cash payments, not personal cash payments, but certainly paying off poor rural towns where the family income is certainly below the provincial average to accept nuclear waste is completely unethical. So that's where we're at in terms of right now, is that in Bruce County there were 5 communities involved that signed on. The Southampton group, they pulled out very quickly of the process because they caved into pressure from a very strong lobby group there. We just had a municipal election in which, very luckily, thanks to the help of Bernayne and Dave, I was able to make the issue an issue on the ballot. And we had out 14 people running for council. We had 10 people running on a campaign against nuclear waste. And the NWMO, they gave the candidates running for the nuclear waste all the same talking points. I noticed that the newspapers up in Northern Ontario, people running for mayor up there, had the same thing to say as our mayor. They kept repeating, we want to learn more, and that this process won't be decided by the politicians, it will be decided by the people. But what we weren't telling was that council would have to vote 3 times before it went to a community consultation, and that NWMO does not favor a referendum for the final selection site. So thanks Bernayne, and she worked me through that. I was able to come up with a tagline for our election for our candidates, and we came up with the tagline that the referendum is now. So at the all candidates meetings, we challenged the incumbents. You're lying. There is going to be no referendum. The referendum is right now, and we asked the people to vote on it right then on October 27th, and we had a great result. 5 of the incumbents were defeated in our election that were all pro DGR. So we brought in a group that was opposed. Unfortunately, the mayor, he survived by 100 votes. So we almost lost.
What
We almost
city is
lost.
this now?
Walkerton,
Where is it?
up near Lake Huron, in Bruce County. Yeah. So it was a great victory, and then the winning candidates, we had a motion put together to kick NWMO out of Walkerton, and unfortunately, before I could present the motion, NWMO withdrew. So